Treehouse Book Number 33, Carnival at Candlelight by Mary Pope Osborne. Chapter 6, Disaster. We have to save all of Minnie's, said Jack. That's a big responsibility. What can we do to save Minnie's from? Well, if napkins could help us, it must have something to do with water, said Annie. Yeah, like the water that's flooding the alleys, said Jack. But the woman at the caf told us not to worry about that, said Annie. I'm still worried, said Jack. Let's look up floods in Vinnie's book. He found floods in the index. He turned to the right page and read. Most of the time, high water in Venice is not serious, but if several conditions are present at the same time, a flood disaster can occur. A flood disaster? That must be it, said Annie. So where are all the conditions? List them here, said Jack. He read. A high tide, strong winds from the south, heavy flow of water from the mountain, storms of seas. There's a high tide tonight. The passenger told us that. On the burn mast in the Golden Hour, said Annie. Yeah, and winds from the south. The weather vane told us that, said Jack. And water floating down from the mountains. The woman at the caf told us that, said Annie. Yeah, storms at the sea. I saw lightning when it crossed the water, said Jack. All conditions are here, said Annie. Jack and Annie looked around. Water was floating now steadily from alleyways into a small square. It had risen above their ankles. I get it now, said Jack. The water will just keep getting higher and higher until it destroys the whole city, and no one's paying attention. Neptune's the only one who can help us stop the flood, said Annie. But Neptune's not real, said Jack. I mean, he's a character in mythology, and mythology is not real life. It's okay, said Annie. Let's just take one step at a time. At midnight, two gods will tell you the time. And that we should climb the top of the tower, right? Right, said Jack. So, what we have to do now is find those two guys, said Annie. Let's go back to the waterfront, said Jack. The man with the dogs and everyone in Venice will be there for the fireworks. Jack put away their book. Then he and Annie stepped through the back through the alleys. Lots of seaweed was floating in the narrow lanes between buildings. Water is definitely flowing from the sea, Jack sung. When they got back to St. Mark's Square, people were screaming toward the waterfront. Jack and Annie walked with the crowd. Everyone's talking and laughing as we looked up at the sky over the water, waiting for the fireworks to begin. No one paid attention to the damp wind or seawater spilling over the side of the canal, soaking their shoes. Excuse me, Annie shouted. Can anyone tell us the time? No one answered, for just then the first explosion of fireworks struck the night. The crowd cheered as blue and red shells exploded into the sky. In the distance, a clock started to chime. Jack counted 12. 12, he said. It's midnight now, according to that clock. More fireworks exploded over the waterfront, and another clock began clanging. This time, Jack counted only 11 bongs. He shook his head. This is crazy, he muttered. Jack looked around at the crowd. Can anyone tell us the real time? He asked. Is it midnight yet? Can anyone tell us? No one answered. Not even one man. But says that too. Everyone was oohing and eyeing over the dazzling fireworks. Another clock began to sound. This one was much louder than the first two. Bong! This is hopeless, said Jack. Bong! We'll never find the two right time, he said. Bong! Jack, look over there, said Annie. Bong! We'll never find the two men with the tower, said Jack. Bong! Jack, look, said Annie. Bong! Oh, Venice is about to drown in the flood, said Jack. Bong! And everyone's just cheering for fireworks, said Jack. Bong! Jack, look, said Annie. She pointed towards the clock tower in St. Mark's Square. Bong! Jack saw a huge bell at the top of the tower. Two brown statues were holding a club and striking the bell. Bong! Two statues were two men. Bong! At midnight, two men will tell you the time, said Annie. Bong! The two men struck the bell for the 12th time and stopped. Come on, cried Jack. We have to climb that tower. More fireworks thundered over the canal as Jack and Annie pushed their way back through the crowd. They ran into St. Mark's Square and splashed their way to the tall tower with two men on top. They ran to the arched entrance of the tower and stepped inside. The air was damp and musky. "Stairs," said Jack. He went to a dark, winding staircase that started up. Annie followed. They climbed and climbed until they reached the top of the tower. Jack was breathing hard as they pushed open a heavy door that led out to the bed to rest. The two statues were frozen on either side of the bronze bed. As soon as Jack and Annie stepped onto the rest, the wind blew their hats off their heads. The air was filled with cracking and hissing sounds as more fireworks burst through the sky. Everything on the waterfront was clapping and cheering. "What's the next thing Merlin tells us to do to find Neptune?" Annie shouted. Jack pulled out Merlin's letter. Holding it on tightly as it flapped in the wind, he read aloud. "The king of the jungle will carry you there, not over land, but high in the air." "The king of the jungle is a lion," said Annie, "so it sounds like we need to find a flying lion." "Right," said Jack, "but where?" "How about that one?" said Annie. She was pointing over the west railing. Jack looked down. Standing on the wind ledge was a stone statue of a lion. Growing out of the lion's back were two powerful-looking carved wings. "But that's just a statue," cried Jack. "How can a statue take us anywhere?" Annie grinned. "I think it's time to use a little more magic," she said.